Hey guys, Ethan Gladwell here with Medicare Millennials. Thank you for joining in today. Today we have a very special guest by the name of Evan McGuffey. Evan, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you for taking some time to come on our show and share some of the good news that you have. So Evan here, which I'll let him kind of dive into some of the things we're going to talk about today. Evan has been working with us, the Medicare Millennials, the past few years, and I think we've been talking about doing a YouTube channel or a YouTube video for some time here. We finally got on here, but I wanted to start with a brief introduction with you, Evan. Why don't you share with how you got started, how long you've been in the business, and kind of what you're doing today?
Yeah, so full disclaimer, Ethan is a wonderful upline. He's my upline. He's the one who taught me how to write, 400 Medicare applications in my first 7 months and 600 my first year, and big driver behind my success. So first off, thank you. I reached out to Ethan. I was a marketing producer with FFL when I was 24, 25 years old. I was building up an agency. I didn't like the chargebacks, and I wanted to be able to sleep in eventually after a year or two of hard working. So I figured Medicare with renewals could do that for me. I Googled, I did some research online, and I found Ethan Medicare Millennials on YouTube. And it was beautiful because when I had gone to Asian conferences and spoken to other guys that were doing Medicare, they're all like 50 or 60 years old. And I'm like, listen, that's great. You might sell a lot of insurance at that age, but I want to relate to somebody. And a big part of that is age and where you are in your life. And so Medicare Millennials, I was like, boom, and click on that. I watched this exact YouTube channel that I'm on right now, and I saw you talk with Kenny, and I reached out, and I remember having that first conversation with you where you're like, dude, if you're putting the same amount of work in right now that you would be doing with Medicare, I don't know if I worded that correctly, but you're going to have renewals totaling, I don't know, 10 grand a month after a year and a half, 2 years of writing Medicare. So I dove right in. Ethan, I don't know if you know this, but 2 years ago, like Saturday, like 2 years and 2 days ago, I wrote my first Medicare policy under your guidance.
It's already been that long, huh?
Right?
Seems like yesterday.
And for the things behind me, a year ago, 2 days ago, right? So exactly a year after I wrote my first Medicare policy, I came up with the idea that would eventually become MediZeus. And I'll just give a little teaser here. We'll talk about it plenty this podcast. But MediZeus alerts an agent that their Medicare client signed up for a different MAPD or PDP before it becomes effective. Because normally we don't find out until after the first of the month, like the second or the third, when we look in our back office portal with Jarvis or Humana Advantage. But MediZeus will tell you pretty much, the day after that they sign up with somebody else. Or if they sign up with you, just for a new plan in general.
Excellent. Yeah. So this video is not a tribute to Medicare Millennials or even talking a little bit about Evan's success with us. This video is it's an exciting video. We're talking about a one-of-a-kind technology that all agents, which we'll get into it a little bit more. All agents, whether you're brand new or you've been in the business, 50 years, Evan has created a technology that helps with retention specifically for Medicare Advantage and prescription drug plans. And so let's dive right in. I'll let you take this over, Evan, and kind of share some of the features and the benefits of this technology.
Yeah, so let me just go over the normal course of events. All right. Joe's been your client for however long, a year, 3 years, 3 months, whatever. And the first day of the month comes around. Somehow or another, Joe signs up for a different MAPD, all right? And you have this beautiful pink area called pending due, all right? There's really no other way to put it because at the end of the month, he's switching whether you like it or not, and you don't know that that's happening. On the first day of the next month, Joe's new MAPD becomes effective. His previous plan with you ends. And if you're good, you'll check it on the second or third. I don't always check it on the second or third. I probably don't find out until the fourth, fifth, or sixth when I get around to it.
Well, in fact, I just checked my United Healthcare book of business this morning, which is the second, and it hasn't updated on who's canceled because I know for a fact after using MediZeus, I've lost one and it hasn't showed up just yet.
Okay. So You check Advantage, and at this point, you're not getting more commissions. And at this point, it's also non-compliant to call Joe. You're not allowed to contact a beneficiary after they've disenrolled, unless you have another existing relationship with them, like they have life insurance or an annuity or some other thing with you. But at that, if you didn't tag them with a different product, you legally can't reach out. All right. MediZeus comes in, and the difference is Joe gets signed up for a different MAPD. You run MediZeus, right, at some point in the month and see that Joe is leaving. Not only do you see that Joe is leaving, but you also have the data on his future plan. So you have his future contract number, you have his future plan name, and you have the date that he's going to be starting that plan.
MediZeus tells you all this?
MediZeus tells you all this. And you can run your entire book of business in about 5 minutes with one click.
Wow.
Right? Once your CRM is integrated, and to integrate your CRM, it only takes like 10 minutes. You don't really have to do it one time. It's beautiful. So you run MediZeus, and at that point, you have the data. Hey, Joe's leaving, and you'll probably have a couple people that you see. Hey, Joe's leaving, yada, yada, yada. And I'll show you what it looks like in a second here. And at that point, I have to be very careful on what I say. But all I can tell you is that you know Joe's leaving, and you know where he's going. Good. Let me show you what it looks like.
So you're saying even if I had a book of business of like 700 clients, you could still run this in about 5 to 10 minutes, your entire book?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is what the MediZeus dashboard looks like. You have your MBIs, date of births. Those are the two things that MediZeus needs to fetch your client's data. That's all it needs. And then it's going to fetch everything else. I have the MBIs blurred out, obviously, because I want to keep my clients confidential, but date of births. Now we have contract number, plan name, and enrollment date. So what I did was I just highlighted everybody over here. I hit fetch data. A couple minutes later, it spit out all this information. So you have contract number, plan name, enrollment date. You can see when they enrolled in their current plan. And then, these people up here, they're all white. They're not ending, but this guy is ending. So it's ending the last day of September. And then you have the future contract number, future plan name. I have the better. You have a future contract number, future plan name, and future enrollment date. Okay. So at this point, you know what they're on right now, and you know where they're going before they go there. And the last thing that we implemented was it pulls their first name, last name, address, city, state, and zip code off of CMS. I mean, we have a direct portal into CMS. I don't know if I mentioned that before.
We haven't. We're going to get into that. Yeah, we'll get into that. Yeah.
So, we got this approved with CMS. It took fucking forever, and it was a huge liability and hassle. Tons of legal work and compliance. I know compliance really well now. And I don't want to go over, all the shit that we had to do in order to get that, because I could talk for 3 hours on that.
Yeah, that's not the exciting part anyway. As long as we know it's legal and good to go, that's what we'll need.
Just know that we handled it. We're good to go. They approved us, and they know how we're using MediZeus, and they figure, hey, it's going to lead to less Medicare beneficiary complaints. So let's do it. Yeah. So we pull all this data from CMS, but for a lot of agents, LIS and Medicaid is important. So we pull the level of LIS with the co-payment percentage. And if they have Medicaid, it's a yes or no. And so you'll be able to see this for all of your clients. And so if you want to, you go back to the left side. All I did was scroll to the right. But you just go back to the left side, and then you hit, you can sort by end zone. You can sort by future contract number, and that's going to pull everybody that's leaving at the end of the month to the top. So the first time I ran this, and just so everybody knows, we've been working on this for over a year, right around a year. We came out with the first prototype. It was, honestly, it just wasn't compliant to give to other agents, but I used it. Ethan used it back in December. And Ethan, what happened the first time that you ran MediZeus? The first time last December 2022.
Oh, I mean, it immediately popped up with several people that was leaving me.
Yeah, and this was right after AEP.
Mm-hmm.
And what were the results? Were you able to save anybody?
Absolutely. You're able to call them and ask what's going on and just double check. Maybe they made a change and we're unaware of it, which that should be ending soon with some of the regulations. Maybe they made a change and they were aware of it, and maybe there was something out there that I didn't specify for them, And so whatever the reason may have been, I got the opportunity to get back in front of that client before the plan became effective, right? Because they're still my client. I can still do that. It's not until it's after, if it's effective, is when it's kind of the compliance issue there. So before the new plan became effective, I got to reach out to them and say, what's going on? Why are we looking at something different? What did I miss when looking at your plan? And a lot of times, guys, you'll find that they were bamboozled, that they were lied to, that they maybe not lied, but maybe not the full truth there. A lot of times they don't want to switch. Maybe somebody told them that this new plan has X, Y, and Z, and your plan also has that. You just never went over that. So that just gives you that segue into really figuring out what's going on and then fixing it and solidifying that client, making sure that they don't switch again.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wrote down the number, Ethan. I remember what you told me as far as the number of clients that you saved that week.
Okay.
What was?
I don't have a clue what that number was.
It's 12.
12. Wow. So so you can do 12 times 300, because that's about what the plans pay. That was $3,600 in the next year that you saved me by running this technology once. That's incredible. And then we just ran it the other day, and 5 or 6 or 7 or however many it was, we're also leaving as well, which I got an opportunity to get back in front of. Evan, that's great. I want to dig a little bit more into that, but I want to ask, who is this technology for? Is this for a brand new agent? Is this for somebody that's been doing this forever? Who can use this, and who can benefit from this technology?
Yeah, so I'll speak to that. So for beginning agent, if you don't have a big book of business that you need to retain, I get it. You won't find MediZeus valuable. And listen, if you don't think it's going to help you, that's fine. But I will make this one point. Knowing that whoever you sign up isn't going to leave you without you knowing and you having a second chance is super powerful when you're marketing and you're reaching out and you're acquiring clients and you're building it. Because the thing that was so scary for me was I can go out here and I can write 400 people. I could write 600 people in a year, drop a ton of mail and spend all this money on marketing and drive to all these people's homes and close them and service them. But they would leave without me knowing. Right. So if I had MediZeus 2 years ago, I basically built the software that I wish was out there already. If I had that, it would have been so much more comforting knowing that when I'm going out to market, when I sign up a client, a new beneficiary, they're not going to leave me without me knowing it. They're not going to ghost you. Right. And for me as an agent, I met with all my people in person. I shook their hand. I met their daughter. I met their wife, husband, son. I met their family. I talked to them. They looked me in the eye. And so when a client leaves me, it feels like a mini breakup. I mean, a part of my heart is like, right. And it's so cold and it's already after the fact. So, I just get ghosted all the time.
I was just telling my wife, I think yesterday, or 2 days ago when I was checking my book of business, I'm like, how on earth can this client be leaving me? Like you were kind of just talking about, I sat down with the husband, the wife, I met the dog, and the son came in. I know where they go on vacation every year. I follow them on Facebook. They follow me. How on earth are they switching? It does feel like a mini breakup and you're almost offended, right? And then that's when this comes into play where you're able to rescue them or able to at least figure out what's going on and get that second chance that you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember your number was 12 and my number was 8.
Ooh. You're better at retention than I am.
Well, this is the first week that we ran it. We'll see.
Yeah, I hear you. Show us a couple. I know there's a couple of more capabilities, whether it's that the calculator. Show us a little bit more, dig a little bit deeper into this MediZeus for us, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. So you just mentioned retention. What does this mean for your bottom line? Okay, so we're building MediZeus. It's taken forever. I'm kind of going like this, getting a little antsy, and I'm like, all right, how am I going to be able to demonstrate to agents and to agencies how much money they're going to make? Like how important retention is. So I looked around and I'm like, there's got to be some sort of calculator out there. There's got to be some sort of tool that's going to be able to like demonstrate it for me visually. And I couldn't find anything. So I had a developer build one. So here we go. Click the link below to go to MediZeus. That's here in the YouTube description.
Yes, there will be a link, guys, that you're able to, on this video that you'll be able to click on. It'll take you straight to this website where you can kind of start playing a little bit with it.
Am I sharing my screen? Can you see?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right. So LTV calculators. So as an agent, you're going to be using the LTV calculator. If you're an agency, you're going to be more interested in agency LTV calculator. But we'll go one at a time here. All right. So this is MediZeus.com. LTV. What does LTV stand for, Ethan Gladwell?
You're going to put me on the spot. I don't remember what it means.
Lifetime value.
That's right.
In the banking world, it means loan to value.
That's what I wanted to say, and I knew that wasn't it.
So what is lifetime value? The lifetime value of a customer is how much money they'll give you over their lifetime. Okay, so Ethan, your LTV at Amazon is probably, I don't know, like 100 grand. At least mine is. You know, my LTV at Chipotle, the way you calculated that is all the years, like all the money that I'm going to spend at Chipotle, right, over my entire life. Now, I eat there like 4 or 5 times a week, so you know, I probably spent like 15 grand there over the past 5 years.
Right.
Like that, you know? So you want to be able to calculate the average LTV per client that you have as a Medicare agent, so you have an idea of what your commissions are going to look like. All right. So that's what this does. And it'll also calculate your commissions year over year over year. So let's just say, Ethan, we're a solid producer. We're going to produce 300 plans in a year. All right. And your persistency, I'm just going to say, is 80. Now we'll do 84. I'll show you why. We'll do 84%. All right. And then you hit calculate. Now by persistency, this is the number of people that stay on the books with you each year. All right. So maybe I should just do 100. I'm just going to do 100 just for simplicity. So I write 100 people. At the end of the year, I have 84 left. Let's go over these things. Commission per MA plan. We all know that's $301. By true MA production, okay, I wrote 100 plans, but only 84 stuck. That means I really only wrote 84. LTV per MA. So what is each one of these plans worth to me? Like, how much commission will I get over the lifetime of that client sticking with me? $13.48. Now, we use a constant. This is just something to compare yourself to. It's kind of what I like to say the gold standard. 87%. Okay, so 87% is this constant that you can compare your numbers to. So at 87%, we're at $15.79. If you look to the right, you have in the green your commission at 84%, and you have the commission at 87%. You can see how it varies over time. And it makes sense because the first year at 100, the next year, or first year at 84, then it goes down by 84%, then it goes down. Should make sense. And if you come down here, your commissions year by year based off of 1, how much you produce, and 2, your persistency are going to look as follows. 25 grand, 21 grand, 17, 14, 12. It's just going to dwindle down, dwindle down, dwindle down.
And again, this is if you just wrote 100 plans and then stopped producing, correct?
Right, just 1 year. Yep.
Okay,
And I'll go
gotcha.
over, how to change that. So at the end of 10 years, your total lifetime commissions from your clients from 1 year of production of 100 clients is 134 grand. Now at 87 persistency, it's 157.
Guys, this is 3% difference here. 3%.
That's the big thing. That's the big thing. It's only a 3% difference, right? It isn't 5. It's not 10. It's 3. And it's only 1 year, right? So then I said to myself, well, what if, I produced 100 plans for the next 4 years? Okay, well, we implemented that feature too. So for the next 4 years, so that's 5 years of production total, right? This year and then another 4. The graph's going to change because you're going to be on the up and up for 5 years. You're going to be producing for 5 years, and then it's going to dwindle down after that. What does that look like at the end? 674,000 versus 789. Right? And for everybody, well, I don't even know what the calculation is on that. It's like that's gotta be, I'm just spitballing here. That's like a 15% boost in revenue. Yep. Now here's the thing, Ethan, this doesn't entail spending any more money on marketing. And you don't have to talk to any more people.
This is just writing.
Marketing, and you're not increasing your marketing at all. And you're not increasing the number of people that you talk to at all. You're just keeping the people that you've already talked to more.
Yeah. Yeah. You've already taken the time. You've spent the money on the lead. You've visited with the person. You've done all the work, and now you're holding on to them.
Right. Right.
It's beautiful. This is such a good thing to even show like a new agent. I remember the very first organization I joined, they showed me something similar to this, not as advanced. But that was really what sold me on Medicare was the year over year over year retention or renewals. And that's what brought me into the business. Soon found out, of course, we didn't have any sort of technology here that could help with retention. The first organization was so heavy on actually making the sale, but never really with the follow-up. So of course, a lot would fall off, et cetera, et cetera. So for a new agent, I mean, this would get me super excited because this is clear cut. I can write 100 plans for 5 years or 2 years or however many years there. And this is what I can expect to get paid based on my persistency. This stuff didn't exist. And so if I saw the vision and how powerful it was 8 years ago before this existed, something like this ought to just open up everybody's eyes and give you a clear path on what it is that you need to do and how you can get there ultimately.
Right. And MediZeus won't get you there alone. I mean, you want to be doing follow-up emails, follow-up texts, send a postcard, do an actual call and actually call your clients. But you also, just having MediZeus in your arsenal, massively powerful, massively powerful.
Wow.
So let's, and Ethan, by the way, this is only with a 3% difference. Let's just check out, you're going from 80 to 87. You go from 80 to 87, you're looking at 550 versus 789. That's another 50% right there.
Wow.
Right. So I forget what the calculation is. It's like each increase in 1% in your retention rate and your persistency in this case equals, I think it's like a 3 or a 4% increase to your bottom line over the next 5 or 10 years.
Yeah. So if you got 50 clients, this may not make a huge difference, but as you're seeing with 100 a year for the first few years, that's incredible. And now here for the agency, this is going to blow your minds.
Yeah. So how much production do we want to put here, Ethan Gladwell?
Keep it at 1,000 or whatever you think.
I want to do 10,000.
Okay, let's do 10,000.
So for an agency, it's going to work out to like the same percentages, but we'll just look at the money. So let's just say you have an agency doing, like I said, 84%. What we did here is we know that agencies have different overrides with different carriers at different levels. You got MGA, SGA, FMO, whatever. So, you can enter in whatever you think your average override is for your agency. But let's just keep it 100.
Keep it.
I just hit calculate.
Well, you put 10 there.
Yeah,
there we go. There we go.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're looking at 4.4 million versus 5.2 million.
Nearly $1 million more.
Right? And that's only off 1 year. Let's do the thing that I was talking about before. 22 versus 26. Right? And you didn't have to spend any more money on marketing.
Yeah, you're just holding on to what you've already done.
Right. Right.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So just to kind of wrap it all up, bundle it all up here, MediZeus does several different things, but the two big things that they do is, one, you're able to, we haven't talked about this, but I'll let you kind of hit on this. You're able to put your entire book of business into MediZeus, and you're able to fetch the data. It will run it within 5 to 10 minutes, depending on size of book, and it will tell you who is switching, what they're switching to, and it gives you that opportunity to get in front of them before they switch, where it's still compliant. And then the second thing it does for both agent and agency, it will show you kind of that the value of that client, of getting that client and retaining that client over time. And even if you can just, I mean, some people are like, well, my retention rate is 95%. It may be, that's amazing, right? But what if we could get it to 97, right? We're not trying to get you to 10, 20, 30%. That would be great, obviously. But if we even got 2 to 3% difference, what that looks like over the lifetime value of that client. So that's incredible. One thing, Evan, I don't want to have to take all 700 of my clients and put in the Medicare number and the date of birth. How do I get my clients into MediZeus?
Yeah, so MediZeus is compatible with every single CRM on the planet. All you have to do with your CRM is you export it to a CSV file, and then you upload the CSV file into MediZeus. And what it'll do, it is, we train it that it'll automatically detect what column has the MBIs and what column has the date of birth. So it doesn't matter how many columns you have. It doesn't matter how many clients you have. We take the MBI's date of birth and we throw them into MediZeus, right? When you import it, it's going to map the date over there. And at that point, you just hit fetch all and you're good to go.
So we don't have to sit there and manually type all that into MediZeus or anything like that.
No.
Excellent.
And we have specific tutorials on how to do certain CRMs because they're a little bit different. You should know, if you're worth a grain of salt as a Medicare agent, you should know how to export goddamn birth. But not everybody knows that. So, I show you on my screen, okay, you're in the CRM, you click all, you hit export, all right? Yeah, it's step-by-step tutorial on how to do it. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I know some of the Medicare agents are older, and some of this can be intimidating. So it's good to hear that it's about 3 buttons and you can get this imported and started.
Yeah, Ethan, there's no faxing needed with MediZeus.
You're going to blow the industry's mind if you say no faxing. All right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to share before we start wrapping this up?
You get a 30-day free trial, no credit card asked. Try it out for 30 days. It's a full life cycle of the month. Give it a go. If you don't want to go with it, we're not going to bill you. Don't worry. And at the end of that, it's going to be $89. So $89, you got to save 3 people a year. If we could save you 3 people a year, the software pays for itself. I think we're going to save you way more than that. And you're just going to have clarity. Your business is going to be less anxiety ridden. It's going to be more predictable. And it's totally worth the money. And if you want to do a yearly, then you can get a yearly discount. But
okay.
MediZeus.com.
MediZeus.com. So it's $89 per month after your 1 month free, no credit card needed, none of that junk there. And like you just said, saving 3 policies a year pays for this entire year, the entire year with MediZeus. And just the other day, you saved me 6 in 1 month, right? So 3 in 1 year. It's hard to imagine that you couldn't save that many people there. Yeah, so we'll have a link on the bottom of this video that takes you directly to MediZeus's website there. Again, Evan has tutorials. He's got training videos. He's got everything you will need to make sure we can get your business imported in there and you can start running that business. What better time than right now when AEP is about to start, right? And I know that was kind of the plan here, is to get this. It was rush to get this launched before AEP. But guys, if you have any sort of book of business, and I don't care if you've been in this for 1 year, 100 years, AEP brings me anxiety, and I'm sure it brings most people anxiety, because we can market all we want. We can send the voicemails. We can send the postcards. We can talk to them, to the actual client, decide that it's best that they stay put, and then they still can switch, right? And so during AEP, it brings all these agents a lot of anxiety and fear and worry and uncertainty on what next year is going to look like for them. There's no better time than right now. Get your 30 days in, run your entire book of business, but that way it gives you that peace of mind knowing I have the power to see where my people are going and what they're doing. And it gives you that capability again to hold on to these people for many, many, many years. Because I've always said on these videos, Medicare is not about that huge upfront commission, right? The $300. The beauty of Medicare is in the retention. And with MediZeus running that every month, several times a month, if you want to, that retention is going to skyrocket. I've already noticed it in my business. One other thing, I know we've talked a little bit about agents. There's going to be a link on the bottom. What about agencies or IMOs? What do we want them to do? Do we want them to reach out to us?
Yeah, hit the link in the description, go to MediZeus, and if you go under like solutions, then you click for FMOs, you can see what the benefits look like. We do give volume discount pricing, depending on if you have independent agents or you have LOA agents. We could structure it however you'd like. There's a contact form in there. It'll go directly to me. If you want to book on my calendar, you could do that too. But you'll be working with me one-on-one if you have an agency, and eventually you'll get handed off to an account executive. But for now, it's going to be me. You'll be talking directly to where the buck stops. We'll be able to help you and your team out.
Fantastic. Well, this all sounds great. I appreciate you coming on here, Evan. Guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. You obviously can comment, you can email us. We're happy to answer any questions. We hope that you don't have very many. I think Evan and I have literally discussed every single question for the last year on what you could have, and trying to prevent any questions or uncertainty. Check us out, guys. 30 days free, no credit card needed, nothing like that. Run your book of business. No better time. We're right here in AEP. This is super exciting. Evan, I appreciate you coming on. Any final thoughts here?
Dude, thank you so much. Appreciate your support over the past 2 years. We're a little late on this podcast, but I think we're doing it right.
Yeah. Well, let's do it. Let's see if we can't help out every agent here in the U.S.
Amen.
All right. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, everybody. And like I said, reach out if you have any questions. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.